144 The Horrifying Instance, Lost Castle. Welcome to the SSS level horror instance, Lost Castle. Please complete the mission, find the castle and spend 3 days safely inside it. The mission time is unlimited. Friendly reminder: 1. The castle is located at the source of a living water source. 2. The castle owner does not welcome uninvited guests, so please hide as soon as you see him. 3. The castle owner does not kill innocent people indiscriminately. 4. Player items are ineffective. Qin Shi landed in a forest, surrounded by lush vegetation. She looked around at her surroundings and then at her clothes, which were the same ones she wore when she entered the instance. It's obvious that it would be difficult to survive in the jungle wearing these clothes, let alone search for the lost castle. Qin Shi purchased jungle adventure clothing and equipment from the bracelet system, and also bought herself a pair of light and comfortable shoes. Fortunately, this instance only restricts players from using items, but does not restrict them from using assets to purchase resources in the system store. After tidying herself up, Qin Shi set off on her journey to find Lost Castle. Staying put wasn't an option, so she picked a direction and started walking. Is Jingyi in this instance? Qin Shi wondered to herself. Does her Guai intend to be impartial in her own instance? She hasn't come to find me yet. Is there something she hasn't finished dealing with? What could it be? Lost Castle. Jingyi immediately sensed Qin Shi's presence in the instance under his jurisdiction. He tried to leave, but was blocked by an invisible barrier. He angrily pounded on the barrier wall, even brandishing his twin swords and unleashing a flurry of blows at it. After a long while, the barrier remained motionless, and Jingyi stood there silently with a dark expression. The old butler stood nervously in the stairwell and gently advised, "Young master, the master has returned and is waiting for you in the study." Jingyi raised his eyes and looked towards the study on the second floor, his eyes filled with deep anger. Qin Shi walked for a long time in the jungle. When she heard cries for help coming from ahead, she nimbly hid behind a sturdy tree and quietly observed the situation. This instance cannot use items. Her stamina-enhancing items such as blood mist and high heels have become ordinary items. Now, they are in the initial state of entering the instance and have no weapons to rely on. Qin Shi couldn't determine whether the commotion came from Ghost or her teammate, so she decided to wait and see. As the cries for help grew louder, Qin Shi finally saw the person calling for help, a terrified girl being chased by 3 men. The girl tripped over a tree root protruding from the ground and fell awkwardly. The 3 men caught up and surrounded the girl who had fallen to the ground. The girl was at a loss. In a panic, she took out a dagger from her bracelet and waved it around in the air at the 3 men who were trying to approach her. "Please let me go. I just want to go home. I just want to go home." The girl pleaded in a trembling voice, "Brothers, please have mercy. I just entered this instance. If I can get through this instance, I can go home. Please, let me go." The most menacing looking of the 3 men grinned menacingly. "You can't get past this instance. Instead of going to your death, you'd better stay here and serve us. That way, you can survive in this dangerous forest." "That's right, little girl, come with us and you can roam freely in this jungle. Why bother going to that lost castle where there's no return? No, go away. I want to go to the castle. I want to go home." The girl brandished the dagger a few more times, her eyes filled with terror and helplessness, watching helplessly as the men with ill intentions drew closer and closer to her. Qin Shi, who had heard everything clearly from a short distance away, frowned. Looking at the dagger the girl was using to save herself, she had a sudden inspiration. "Stop!" Qin Shi jumped out from behind the tree, revealing the weapons she had collected in the zombie instance. These weapons were not items rewarded by the system, so their use was unrestricted. When the 3 men saw Qin Shi carrying a large chainsaw, they panicked. Their wristband system restricted the use of items, and apart from daily necessities, they couldn't buy any offensive weapons from the system shop. Therefore, Unless the weapon was purchased in a previous instance and is stored in the space, this type of weapon can be used. Qin Shixi's rechargeable chainsaw directly controlled the three bad men, who turned and ran when they saw that things were not going well. The girl, who had been clutching the dagger on the ground, finally came to her senses and looked up at Qin Shixi with gratitude. "Can you get up by yourself?" Qin Shixi walked closer and asked the girl with concern. The girl nodded, slowly got up from the ground, and said gratefully, "Thank you. If it weren't for you, I might have ended up in a terrible situation today." The girl's name is Yunru. She arrived a few days earlier than Qin Shixi and still hasn't found the location of Lost Castle. This instance has unlimited time, and there are many players stuck in this SSS level instance. It is said that players who enter Lost Castle cannot even last a day before being wiped out by the castle owner. A small number of players entered the castle and then escaped. Not wanting to die and unable to pass the instance, they settled down in the jungle. Taking advantage of their knowledge of the instance, they bullied the new players. The location of Lost Castle changes every 7 days, and players are sent in a new batch every 7 days as well. Yunru, how did you end up running into those men who were chasing after you? Qin Shixi pushed aside the bushes blocking the road while asking Yunru. Yunru used her dagger to draw a mark on the trees she passed to avoid getting lost. Now that she was a little calmer, she said with lingering fear, "I've been wandering around this instance for 6 days without finding the castle. Today I was just trying my luck, but I ended up seeing these 3 players bullying a new player." "So you went up to save someone and almost got yourself killed?" Qin Shixi asked, somewhat incredulous. "No, I didn't intend to go up there. I'm completely defenseless, and my only weapon is the dagger that instance bought to peel fruit. Going up to save people would just be suicide." Yunru, somewhat lacking confidence, explained. Qin Shixi, "So how did they find you and start targeting you?" Yunru twisted her fingers and said shyly, "I'm actually afraid of snakes. When I was hiding from them, a snake suddenly popped out of the tree branch, which scared me so much that I screamed and immediately attracted their attention. They chased me for several hours until I couldn't run anymore, and I tripped over a tree root and lost my speed. That's when they surrounded me," Yunru added. Is Chapter 145 a response? It's good enough if they don't stab us in the back, right? Qin Shixi and Yunru both wanted to find Lost Castle, but they both got lost in the forest. After wandering aimlessly for a while, Qin Shixi heard a familiar voice calling her name. "Sister Shixi." Qin Shixi looked over at the sound and saw Bai Piao running happily toward her with a small backpack on his back. "What a coincidence, Sister Shixi. You are on this instance too. Did you just get matched in today?" Bai Piao parted the weeds along the way with his boots, his face showing excitement at seeing an acquaintance. Qin Shixi was also very happy to see Bai Piao. "Piao, little brother, I just entered this instance today. Have you encountered any bad people since you entered this instance?" Upon hearing this, Bai Piao asked in confusion, "No, did Sister Shixi run into her?" Bai Piao walked out in the direction the 3 bad guys had retreated in. Qin Shixi, seeing that he hadn't encountered them, briefly told him about meeting Yunru. "I see, it's good that you have a big weapon, Sister Shixi. Otherwise, those 3 guys would be really hard to deal with. After all, since none of us have any props right now, they have a physical advantage," Bai Piao analyzed. Yunru nodded. "That's right. I've been in this instance for a long time. I've met a few people who got lost in the forest before. They teamed up to search for Lost Castle to prevent those players who gave up on themselves from attacking new players in the instance." Qin Shixi, "Yunru, you entered this instance earlier than us, why didn't you team up with anyone else?" Yunru shook her head and said helplessly, "It's not that I don't want to join a team, it's just that their teams have a fixed number of members, and they think I'm too weak and will drag down the team's efficiency, so they didn't agree to let me join them. Bai Piao asked, puzzled, Sister Yunru, have you been coming here alone these past few days? Yunru nodded, yes. Let's go. We still need to find Lost Castle first. If the castle's location hasn't changed over time, then the clues from the living water source should lead us there. Qin Shi looked at the forest she still couldn't leave and felt somewhat discouraged. At the source of a flowing water source, you should at least see a stream or something, but now you can't even find a puddle. Let's keep going. Maybe we'll run into a team that can find the castle. Anyway, the instance time is unlimited, Bai Piao said calmly. Qin Shi nodded in agreement, then, as if she had thought of something, she looked at Bai Piao with shining eyes. Piao, little brother, have you been going around in circles since you came into this instance? Bai Piao thought for a moment, and Wei Wei shook her head and replied, no, the scenery has been changing the whole way here, I haven't gone in circles. Upon hearing this, Qin Shi and Yunru exchanged glances. Indeed, the two of them had been circling around this area all morning, unable to find their way out. Qin Shi thought of Bai Piao's good luck and had an idea in her mind. Although she didn't know if it was feasible, she decided to give it a try. Qin Shi patted Bai Piao on the shoulder and said seriously, Piao, little brother, you lead the way. Bai Piao looked troubled. Sister Shi, should I lead the way? What if I can't find my way out either? Qin Shi encouraged, it's okay, Piao, the sisters believe in your luck, just go with your gut feeling. Yunru nodded in agreement. Yes, we believe you. Seeing that Qin Shi and Yunru both supported him leading the way, Bai Piao didn't hesitate and immediately started leading the way. Qin Shi and Yunru followed Bai Piao and, as expected, stopped going in circles. Before dark, Qin Shi and the others walked directly out of the dark forest and came to a winding stream. Upon seeing the stream, Yunru exclaimed with delight, look, it's a stream. They said earlier that we had to find a stream like this, go upstream, and keep going until we see Lost Castle. Qin Shi patted Bai Piao on the shoulder again. Piao, little brother, thanks to you this time. Bai Piao scratched the back of his neck sheepishly. Although he didn't know why he was able to lead the way out of the deep jungle to find the stream, he felt especially good to be trusted by Sister Shi. Looking at Bai Piao's innocent smile, Qin Shi wondered whether she should tell him that he probably didn't know she was ghost. Perhaps he would find out after meeting his parents. It seems that this forest is not deceptive to ghosts, but only to players, which is why Bai Piao, the ghost player, did not wander around in circles in the forest. It's getting dark, let's rest here. Ghosts might come out at night, Yunru said with some concern. Qin Shi asked in confusion, Yunru, what's the deal with ghosts coming out at night? Yunru explained, I'm not very clear on the specifics, but I heard that ghosts disguise themselves as players at night to hunt for food, so many players form teams of a certain number of people early in the morning to prevent themselves from being eaten by ghosts when they are alone. In that case, let's rest here for now and set off again at dawn, Qin Shi suggested. Sisters, you all go to sleep. I'm not sleepy, I'll keep watch. Bai Piao found a rock, sat on it, and began her night watch. Qin Shi and Yunru both took out their sleeping bags and started to rest. Horror Instance Lost Castle, Day 2. Qin Shi and the other players spent the night peacefully, unaffected by the ghost. Yunru was puzzled because she had managed to get through the previous few nights by stubbornly staying on the periphery of several player teams. It seems they're in luck, they're now moving upstream along the stream. As Qin Shi and her group walked into the afternoon, a team of 10 players came into view. The tall man leading the team excitedly rushed to the stream and shouted back to the group, everyone, look. We found the stream. If we follow it, we'll find Lost Castle soon. The other 9 people in the group also seemed particularly excited. Several of them noticed Qin Shi's 3-person team and began to scrutinize them while whispering among themselves. Qin Shishi and Yunru didn't say anything. The three of them just stopped for a moment, glanced at the group of 10 people, and then continued walking. The group of 10 simply watched Qin Shishi and her two companions leave without intervening. Be careful, they might be watching us, Yunru warned in a low voice as they walked. What's going on? Qin Shishi asked, puzzled. Rumor has it that there are 10 safe rooms in Lost Castle, and if players hide in those 10 safe rooms, the castle owner will not attack them. Players who didn't manage to hide inside in time will need to find other places to hide, but apart from safe rooms, it will be difficult to escape the castle owner's hunt in any other place. Players usually enter the castle in teams of 10. If there are too many people, there won't be enough rooms to go around. So, some players will eliminate the extra players outside the castle to prevent too many players from entering and fighting over the few safe rooms. The creek leading to Lost Castle is the most common killing spot for players, and the creek, which changes every 7 days along with Lost Castle, is often stained red. So let's hurry up and get into Lost Castle before them. They outnumber us, and we might not be a match for them, Yunru urged Qin Shishi and Bai Piao as she quickened her pace. As they continued upstream along the stream, Qin Shishi and the other two quickened their pace, while the 10-person player team followed closely behind. As the second night arrived, Qin Shishi and her two companions stopped to rest by the dark stream. Seeing that the group of 10 had also stopped to rest, Qin Shishi felt uneasy. She leaned close to Yunru and Bai Piao and whispered a reminder. Yunru, Piao, now that they've run into us, tonight is the best time to strike. Let's be careful. Bai Piao nodded. Sisters, you should go to sleep first, I'll keep watch. Yunru said with concern, Piao, you guarded for a long time yesterday without resting, so let me guard today. Qin Shishi looked at Bai Piao with some concern. She knew that Bai Piao were ghosts and didn't need sleep, but she wasn't sure if this was the case with Bai Piao. The ever-energetic Bai Piao reassured them, don't worry, sisters, I have a special constitution. Since entering this terrifying world, I can go for days without sleep without any problems. You really have to believe me. Indeed, compared to Qin Shishi and Yunru's disheveled and exhausted appearance, Bai Piao looked energetic and showed no signs of fatigue. Yunru wanted to say something, but Qin Shishi stopped him. Qin Shishi looked at Bai Piao and patted his shoulder with a trusting expression. Piao, little brother, we understand. We'll leave it to you tonight too. If they try to get close, wake us up in time. Yes, I understand, don't worry, sisters. Seeing that Bai Piao had started his night watch, Qin Shishi and Yunru began to rest and catch up on sleep. As night deepened, there was a rustling sound, the pebbles along the stream were being trodden on. 10 men with fierce eyes, holding various weapons, slowly approached Qin Shishi and her two companions. Bai Piao, who was supposed to be sitting on the side keeping watch, had his head drooping and looked like he couldn't stay awake any longer and had fallen asleep. The moonlight cast the players' shadows into the babbling brook, and in an instant, the rustling sounds on the bank disappeared, leaving only the rushing sound of the water. Horror Instance Lost Castle, Day 3. When Qin Shishi and Yunru woke up early in the morning, the 10-person player team was gone. Yunru asked in confusion, Piao, little brother, where have they gone? Piao pointed towards the upstream of the stream and replied, they set off early this morning, probably trying to find Lost Castle and reserve a spot before us. Oh, I see. Yunru nodded knowingly. Noticing that Bai Piao still looked energetic, she was a little surprised, but she didn't ask why. Maybe there were just some capable people who could stay awake for days. Qin Shishi noticed a bloodstain on Bai Piao's sleeve and asked with some concern, Piao, little brother, are you hurt? Why is there blood on your sleeve? Upon hearing this, Bai Piao quickly checked his sleeve and found bloodstains. He paused for a moment, then waved his hand and explained, yes, I probably scraped my arm while traveling. The wound has healed now, and I don't feel anything. Seeing this, Qin Shishi already knew the answer in her heart. She didn't ask any more questions and said with concern, Apiao, please be careful. If you get scratched, you can tell us so we can bandage it up and then continue on our way. Okay, Sister Shishi, I'm fine now. Let's hurry on our way. Bai Apiao said, her eyes looking guilty and somewhat at a loss. After tidying up, Qin Shishi and the other two continued their journey. On the way, we encountered another group of 10 people, but this time there was an acquaintance among them. Li Dawei looked at Qin Shishi and shrank back into the line like a mouse seeing a cat. Qin Shishi didn't notice Li Dawei in the group of 10, but she still cautiously pulled Bai Apiao and Yunru along to hurry on their way. Li Dawei encountered Qin Shishi twice in the previous instances and was badly hurt both times. Fortunately, he was in the mental hospital. After the instance, a big shot joined the list. The thought that he now had a powerful backer gave Li Dawei confidence. Just in case, Li Dawei still stepped forward and reminded a man with a gloomy demeanor. Li Dawei, Brother Li, the extremely beautiful female player in there is called Qin Shishi. I've encountered her twice before. She's very strange. We have to be careful of her. Li Zu squinted at the departing Qin Shishi and his two companions, then waved to the players following him, urging them to hurry on their way. Qin Shishi Yunru would occasionally look back at the 10-person team following not far behind her. The leader of the group was Li Zu. Whenever Yunru turned around to look at their group, Li Zu would respond with a smile. When Yunru saw Li Zu looking at her with a smile, she was startled and turned back to continue on her way, while whispering to Qin Shishi. Bai Apiao and Bai Apiao said to each other, my God, their leader is actually smiling at us. I feel a little scared. Bai Apiao glanced back at the group behind him, and thought they were no different from the group in front. If this group was also looking for death, he could grant them their wish. Qin Shishi frowned. She had a bad feeling about the man leading the group and wondered if his team would make a move tonight. As darkness fell, Qin Shishi and the other two rested on the spot. The group of 10 also rested on the spot. What was different was that their leader actually came up and greeted Qin Shishi and the other two. Li Zu smiled amiably, concealing some of the hostility in his eyes. He stepped forward and introduced himself. Hello, my name is Li Zu. It's fate that we met in this stream. Why don't we get to know each other? That way, we can look out for each other when we enter the castle. Qin Shishi, taking care of each other. It's good enough if they don't stab us in the back, right? She didn't know what he was planning, and without knowing the strength of the other side, Qin Shishi didn't want to start a conflict, especially since there were only 3 of them on her side. Qin Shishi replied with a smile, it's good to get to know each other. We're all looking for Lost Castle. My name is Qin Shishi. Chapter 146 Greeting you with a smile, stabbing you in the back with his back. Li Zu extended his hand to shake hands with Qin Shishi, his voice cheerful. I see there are only 3 of you, why don't you come with us? It'll be safer that way. Bai Apiao stepped forward and shook Li Zu's hand, smiling adorably. My name is Bai Apiao, can I call you Brother Li? It's so great to be able to join your team, right, sisters? As Bai Apiao said this, he turned around and winked at Qin Shishi and Yunru from an angle where Li Zu and the others couldn't see him. Qin Shishi and Yunru exchanged a glance and agreed, that's right, having a team to join does provide some security. Li Zu smiled awkwardly, forcefully pulling his hand away from Bai Apiao's painful grip, and nodded, yes, you can just call me Brother Li. That's what everyone in the team calls me too. It's getting dark, so why don't you come and rest with my team? There's strength in numbers, so we won't be afraid of ghosts, and it'll be safer. Yes, thank you for your kindness, Brother Li. We'll just rest here. It's not far from you, and we can warn each other if there's any danger, Qin Shishi politely declined. Alright then, I'll head back now. If you need any help, just let me know. Li Zu patted his chest, speaking with great loyalty, before turning around and changing his expression. After Li Zhu left, Qin Shishi and the other two whispered for a while, then rested as usual, just like yesterday. This time, Bai Piao was on night watch again. At night, three men crouched down and stealthily approached Qin Shishi and her two companions. Bai Piao closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep, making those people think they had a chance to take advantage of him. When one of the attackers tried to get past Bai Piao and approach Qin Shishi and Yunru, Bai Piao quickly tripped him and knocked him to the ground. The loud noise woke up many players who had already fallen asleep. But when everyone looked over by the moonlight, the three tall men who had ambushed Qin Shishi and the others had already been swiftly defeated by Bai Piao. When Qin Shishi woke up, he also noticed Bai Piao's ghostly speed, so had he realized that he was different. Seeing that their teammates' attack on Qin Shishi and the others had failed, Li Zhu and the other seven panicked, but Li Zhu quickly stepped in. He called over several strong male teammates and walked towards Qin Shishi and the others. Qin Shishi and Bai Piao watched Li Zhu and his group approaching them warily, assuming they were going to make their move openly. However, Li Zhu simply led his men to drag away the three fallen teammates, and said apologetically to Qin Shishi, "I'm sorry, we didn't expect that there would be three scoundrels in the team. I will handle them well." Qin Shishi understood. They had sent someone to test their strength, so it seemed that Li Zhu was not to be underestimated. There was only a small incident that night. After dawn, the three people who attacked Qin Shishi disappeared without a trace. Qin Shishi, Bai Piao, and the other two knew exactly what was going on, so they set off at dawn to avoid contact with Li Zhu's group. "Shishi, those three guys last night were probably sent out by their team to test our strength. If it weren't for Piao's good skills, we probably would have been defeated," Yunru said with lingering fear. As Qin Shishi walked, she said, "Their strength is unknown. It seems they are also worried that we have more tricks up our sleeves. This Li Zhu is very cautious. We need to be careful." "Bai Piao, bring it on. I'm super strong, I'm not afraid at all." "Sister Shishi, don't worry, I can handle them all by myself. I studied taekwondo before." Bai Piao gave himself a plausible excuse for his victory against three opponents last night. He worried that his unusual physical condition would frighten Qin Shishi and Yunru. "Really, I was wondering why Piao, little brother, was so amazing. Turns out he was hiding his talent," Yunru praised with admiration. Qin Shishi also looked at Bai Piao and teased, "Of course. Don't let Piao's cute appearance fool you. Little brother is actually a strong and capable man." After being praised by Qin Shishi and Yunru, Bai Piao became shy and somewhat flustered. Witnessing the relaxed atmosphere of Qin Shishi and the other two, Li Zhu, who was also walking not far behind them, had a fierce look in his eyes. Li Dawei popped his head out of the group and whispered in Li Zhu's ear. The two looked in the direction of Qin Shishi and the others with a meaningful gaze. "Brother Li is truly remarkable, sending people to assess their strength beforehand," Li Dawei flattered Li Zhu obsequiously. Li Zhu glanced at the still flowing stream beside him, its color turning a deep crimson. He already had a plan in mind. He smiled and said, "Dawei, you've done a great service this time. Once we find Lost Castle, I'll definitely remember you. This Bai Piao and the two players with him are probably not to be underestimated. If we can win them over." Last night, Li Zhu originally wanted to personally eliminate Qin Shishi and the other two, but Li Dawei stopped him and sent someone else to test the waters. The test revealed that if he really took action, he would probably not escape death. "They are quite strong, and if we can win them over, we will have a better chance of winning against other player teams. However, last night's actions have clearly made Qin Shishi wary of Li Zhu." Around noon, Qin Shishi and her group found more than a dozen corpses as they walked upstream along the stream, indicating that they had been through a fierce battle. "Let's go, we should be close to Lost Castle by now." Qin Shishi turned her gaze away from the corpses. "It's all a matter of skill. In order to secure a safe room in Lost Castle, players have already started eliminating potential enemies outside. As Qin Shi Shi and her group continued their journey past the corpses, they were caught up by Li Zu from behind. Li Zu called out to Qin Shi Shi and the others, saying in a kind tone, "Qin Shi Shi, you three should come with our team. We'll encounter other teams later, so it'll be good to have someone to help you. The three of you are evenly matched, and we might not be able to enter Lost Castle safely. You don't need to worry about that. We received your offer last night, Brother Li, didn't we?" Baya Piao refused directly when he saw Qin Shi Shi's hesitant look. After saying that, Baya Piao gave Qin Shi Shi a reassuring look. Thinking of the 10-person player team that disappeared silently the night before, Qin Shi Shi had a better understanding of Baya Piao's ghost strength. After receiving Baya Piao's gaze, she asked Yun Ru for her opinion. Seeing that Yun Ru firmly stood by her side, Qin Shi Shi echoed Baya Piao's words and politely declined Li Zu's repeated invitations. She feels insecure about people like Li Zu. She greets you with a smile but stabs you in the back with her back turned. Even though they now feel that their side is strong and they are considering recruiting them, Qin Shi Shi and the others are unwilling to associate with someone like Li Zu. Chapter 147 The children are all older than you. Fortunately, Li Zu's team did not make any more moves along the way, and Qin Shi Shi and her group did not encounter any other teams on the road. Soon, on the afternoon of the fourth day after Qin Shi Shi entered this instance, they found the Lost Castle. The magnificent castle gates were wide open, as if welcoming guests from afar. A kind-looking old man stood by the door, as if waiting for something. Upon seeing the castle gates again, the players in Li Zu's team cheered excitedly, seemingly overjoyed at having finally found Lost Castle after so many hardships. However, they forgot that the real battlefield was inside the castle, and their cheers were meaningless. "Brother Li, that's the old man who guards the castle. We've really found him. Let's go in quickly," Li Dawei excitedly said to Li Zu, pointing to the refined old man. With a wave of his hand, Li Zu led his group past Qin Shi Shi and the others, rushing into the castle first. Qin Shi Shi then noticed that the man who called out, "Brother Li," was Li Dawei. It seems Li Dawei has some skills, and I don't know how Li Zu managed to get so many people to follow him without any props, even that scoundrel Li Dawei is in his team. Qin Shi Shi frowned and pulled back the furious Baya Piao, preventing him from going forward to beat up the players who had rushed into the castle, especially Li Dawei, who had spat on the ground before entering and said to Qin Shi Shi and the other two, "You don't know what's good for you. Don't be impulsive, Piao, they're not our focus," Qin Shi Shi reassured Baya Piao, telling him not to worry about those people. Baya Piao, heeding the advice, stopped arguing and asked with some concern, "Sister Shi Shi, what if they force their way in and there are no safe rooms left?" "Yes, Shi Shi, we saw the castle first, but they got in first." Yun Ru looked at Qin Shi Shi with some concern. Qin Shi Shi gestured for them to calm down. She needed to figure something out first. "Sister Shi Shi, are you serious?" Baya Piao and Yun Ru exchanged a glance, unable to believe it. "I'll try it first, then I'll know." Qin Shi Shi smiled and patted Baya Piao and Yun Ru on the shoulder before turning and walking toward the old man by the castle. The old man, dressed in a black butler's uniform, with his short, grey hair neatly combed, stood spiritedly at the castle gate. Remembering the system's previous friendly reminder that the castle owner doesn't welcome uninvited guests, Qin Shi Shi had no intention of becoming one. She greeted the old man politely, saying, "Hello, sir. We were just passing by and saw a castle here. We'd like to go in and visit the owner. Could you please inform him for us?" "Okay, please tell me your names so I can inform them," the old man asked respectfully. Qin Shi Shi told the old man about her, Baya Piao, and Yun Ru's identities. The old man bowed and then turned to go into the castle to report. Soon, The old man came out of the castle and introduced himself to Qin Shi Shi and the others with a smile. Esteemed guests, my master has agreed to your visit. You can call me Butler Chow. I will now take you on a tour of the castle. Qin Shi Shi, Bai Apiao, and Yun Ru exchanged smiles. It seemed they had made the right bet. Qin Shi Shi and the other two followed Butler Chow into the castle. The castle was magnificent, with exquisite oil paintings hanging on the walls and soft carpets on the floor. Every detail showed the wealth and taste of the castle's owner. Butler Chow led Qin Shi Shi and the others to a spacious and bright hall, where a huge dining table was set with various delicacies and drinks. Butler Chow invited Qin Shi Shi and the others to sit down and instructed the servants to serve the food. After all the dishes were served, Butler Chow smiled and explained to Qin Shi Shi and the others, "These are all specialties of our castle. Please try them. If there is anything that needs improvement, please let me know." Qin Shi Shi, Bai Apiao, and Yun Ru exchanged glances, then picked up their chopsticks and began to taste the food. These dishes were a feast for the eyes, nose, and palate, leaving a lingering aftertaste. Qin Shi Shi couldn't help but exclaim, "These dishes are absolutely delicious." Hearing Qin Shi Shi's praise, Butler Chow smiled with satisfaction. "It's wonderful to receive your approval. If you like, you can eat more." During the meal, Qin Shi Shi and Butler Chow chatted about the history and culture of the castle. Butler Chow told Qin Shi Shi that the castle was built hundreds of years ago and has witnessed many important historical events. Today, it has become a precious historical site, attracting countless visitors. Qin Shi Shi listened with great interest, and she said to Bai Apiao and Yun Ru, "I never knew this castle had so many interesting stories." Bai Apiao and Yun Ru nodded in agreement. They felt the visit was well worth it, as they not only enjoyed delicious food but also learned about the story behind the castle. After the meal, Butler Chow led Qin Shi Shi and the others to a greenhouse in the back garden. Butler Chow said politely, "Please wait here for a moment, my master and mistress will be here shortly." Qin Shi Shi sat on a stone bench in the flower room, surrounded by pleasant flowers with a delicate fragrance. She seemed somewhat distracted. She had asked Jiang Yi about his instance, but his mouth seemed to be under a spell, and he couldn't say anything. This instance is now an SSS level instance. According to Jiang Yi, he should be the manager here, so why haven't we seen him yet? Who are the master and mistress that Butler Chow is talking about? Where is Jiang Yi now? Does he know she's come to this instance? Just as Qin Shi Shi was feeling flustered, a strikingly elegant young couple walked up to them hand in hand. The man in the couple bore a striking resemblance to Jiang Yi, while the woman possessed an exceptionally beautiful appearance, like a night blooming cereus in the darkness, exuding a tranquil and elegant aura. Qin Shi Shi, what is their relationship with Jiang Yi? Why does this man look so much like Jiang Yi? Qin Shi Shi, Bai Apiao, and the other two immediately stood up. Butler Chow followed and introduced them in a gentle voice. "This is my master Jiang Chow, and my mistress Wen Wan." Qin Shi Shi and the other two quickly bowed and greeted them. The castle's mistress, Wen Wan, smiled and gestured for Qin Shi Shi and the others to sit down. She said gently, "You can call me Aunt Wen, and he can be called Uncle Jiang." Wen Wan's words startled Qin Shi Shi and the other two, leaving them all stunned. Seeing their reaction, Wen Wan smiled again, glanced at her husband Jiang Chow, and then explained, "We just look young, our children are older than you." Chapter 148 Fortunately, Jiang Yi didn't inherit his father's perverse sense of humor. As she said this, her gaze fell on Qin Shi Shi, intentionally or unintentionally. Suppressing her doubts, Qin Shi Shi asked sincerely, "Excuse me, Aunt Wen, do you know Jiang Yi?" Upon hearing the name, Jiang Yi, Jiang Chow's expression darkened, and he let out an annoyed snort. This cold snort startled Qin Shi Shi. Yun Ru and Bai Apiao didn't dare to breathe. Seeing that the atmosphere had turned cold, Wen Wan gave Jiang Chow a reproachful look and secretly reached out to pinch the soft flesh of Jiang Chow's lower back. Jiang Chao felt wronged after being pinched by his wife. That brat Jiang Yi, he's forgotten his own father now that he has a wife. And I'm not even allowed to whimper. Fine, I'll just whimper in my heart. After withdrawing her warning gaze from her husband, Wen Wan smiled gently at Qin Shishi and replied, Jiang Yi is my son, Shishi. Hasn't he mentioned us to you? Upon hearing this, Qin Shishi froze. She hadn't expected Jiang Yi's parents to still be alive, because when she asked him, he said he had no memory of his parents. Seeing Qin Shishi's reaction, Wen Wan sighed, we've been away playing for many years, leaving Jiang Yi to guard this world. I never expected him to have such a beautiful girlfriend as Shishi without telling us. If I had known earlier, I would have come back to see you sooner. Seeing that his wife seemed to be in a bad mood, Jiang Chao felt a little guilty and didn't say anything. Jiang Yi didn't tell his mother about having a girlfriend, which has a lot to do with his father, Jiang Chao. Qin Shishi understands Jiang Yi. When Jiang Yi talks about her parents, she looks blank and has no memory of them. So what is the current situation? Wen Wan looked at Qin Shishi with some sadness and asked, Shishi, did Jiang Yi really not mention us to you even once? Qin Shishi nodded, but seeing that Wen Wan was very sad, she thought for a moment and explained the situation. Aunt Wen, Jiang Yi didn't mean not to mention you to me. I asked him, but it seems that he has lost his memory of his parents and can't remember anything about you, so he didn't mention it to me. What? Lost your memory? Wen Wan was somewhat surprised and turned to look at Jiang Chao. Feeling guilty, Jiang Chao saw that his secret had been exposed and began to honestly explain to Wen Wan the reason for Jiang Yi's amnesia. It turns out that when Jiang Chao saw his wife Wen Wan, he was sighing because he was too busy with work to spend time with her. He thought about how his son Jiang Yi had already come of age in the ghost world. So he let Jiang Yi take over his work while he took his wife Wen Wan on a trip. But Jiang Yi couldn't stand staying at instance to work for him, so Jiang Chao raised his hand and erased part of Jiang Yi's memory, making him work for him obediently. Upon hearing this, Wen Wan laughed in anger. In front of Qin Shishi and the others, she grabbed Jiang Chao's ear and said angrily, You Jiang Chao, you even dare to erase your own son's memories. Are you even human? No wonder we've been traveling for so long and Jiang Yi hasn't sent us any news. Jiang Chao knew he was wrong but didn't dare to argue. He could only mutter under his breath, I'm not even human. My son is no match for my wife. You've gone too far. You dare to erase your son's memories. Do you dare to erase mine too? Wen Wan said, her expression becoming even angrier as if she had recalled some old incident. That's right, you do dare to erase my memories. When Jiang Chao saw that his wife remembered the foolish things he had done in the past, his expression changed immediately, and he adopted a pleading and apologetic posture. Wife, I was wrong. I will never dare to do it again. Don't think about those unhappy things. After saying that, Jiang Chao gave Wen Wan a wink, signaling her to save face for herself in front of the younger generation. Wen Wan held her breath and glared fiercely at her husband Jiang Chao, then sighed. Jiang Chao was a bad seed at heart, but thankfully Jiang Yi hadn't inherited his father's perverse tastes. When Wen Wan thought about the evil deeds Jiang Chao committed when she first met him, it was truly, this is ridiculous. Have you returned your memories? You are a father now, how come you still can't get rid of your bad habits? Wen Wan said helplessly. Jiang Chao nodded guiltily, only replying with the second half of the sentence, Okay, I know, honey. I'll be more careful in the future. You talk to them for a while, I have something to take care of. After saying that, Jiang Chao slipped away from the greenhouse before Wen Wan could say anything more. Wait a minute. Watching her husband's departing figure, Wen Wan sighed, realizing that educating this bad boy was a long and arduous task. Let's continue. Uncle Jiang is busy, let's not worry about him, Wen Wan said gently to Qin Shishi and the others. Qin Shishi hesitated for a while, and after talking for a long time with Jiang Yi's mother, she asked about Jiang Yi's whereabouts. Wen Wan thought for a moment, then slapped her thigh and exclaimed, "Look at my memory. I was so eager to come back and see my daughter-in-law that I forgot to see my son. Oh well, she, chat with your aunt for a while." Jiang Yi is probably dealing with the players on instance. It'll take him a few days to finish. Qin Shishi was quite unaccustomed to meeting her parents so suddenly. She took a sip of the tea brought by the servant and replied, "MMM." Bai Piao and Yunru seemed completely out of it, sitting next to Qin Shishi like invisible people, either quietly drinking their tea or staring blankly at their teacups. In the castle hall, Jiang Yi's gaze swept over the group of panicked players, trying to find Qin Shishi's whereabouts. Jiang Yi grew increasingly anxious as he could clearly smell his wife's presence, yet he still hadn't seen her enter the castle. Li Dawei cowered behind Li Zhu, his mind going blank when Jiang Yi's sharp gaze swept over him. "Come out." Jiang Yi raised his hand and pointed at Li Dawei expressionlessly, his voice chilling his eyes. Jiang Yi exuded the same oppressive aura he had on his first night at the divorce instance meeting Qin Shishi, causing Li Dawei to feel the deep-seated unease and fear once again, and he immediately wet his pants. Li Zhu, who was still relatively calm in front of Li Dawei, smelled the strange odor coming from behind him. Suppressing his fear of the ghost boss's oppressive aura, he pulled Li Dawei out from behind him and pushed him in front of Jiang Yi. Li Dawei, with a mournful face, timidly begged Li Zhu to save him in a low voice, but Li Zhu simply looked away and ignored him. Seeing no hope of help, Li Dawei suddenly fell to the ground and cowed out to Jiang Yi, begging for mercy. He was so tense that he seemed about to be scared out of his wits at any moment. "Qin Shishi, have you seen this instance before?" Jiang Yi asked Li Dawei impatiently. If he could find no trace of his wife, he would never have let Li Dawei live in his sight until now. Li Dawei was a little confused by the question. Jiang Yi squinted. It seemed that Li Dawei didn't know where his wife was, so there was no need to let him live any longer. Chapter 149 Then they absolutely cannot be allowed to live. Kill. Seeing the murderous intent emanating from Jiang Yi, Li Dawei felt he was about to die. He quickly replied, "Qin Shishi, I saw it." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yi stopped in his tracks, which was about to draw his twin swords. He stared directly at Li Dawei and said coldly, "Tell me, where is she?" Li Dawei said tremblingly, "We met her as we came up the stream, and we also saw her at the castle gate, but we came in first and haven't seen her yet." So, his wife has already reached the castle gate. Jiang Yi's murderous intent subsided slightly. He realized that it must be the overlord's doing, otherwise he would have already seen his wife here. Jiang Yi snapped out of his thoughts, coldly sweeping his gaze over the players present. He summoned his twin swords and began to deal with the task, hoping to finish as soon as possible so he could ask the Lord for his wife back. The game begins. As soon as Jiang Yi's cold voice landed, the atmosphere in the hall instantly became tense. The players panicked and began searching for places to hide in the dazzling hall. Jiang Yi's twin blades appeared out of thin air, gleaming with a sharp, cold light. His speed was like a phantom. He was no longer in the same spot, but in the blink of an eye, he had already taken down several players who couldn't dodge in time. The players' screams and wails echoed throughout the hall. Li Zhu frantically searched for a safe room in the lobby. There were 4 entrances and exits in the lobby. He ruled out the entrance he came in through and chose the entrance on the right. Each entrance and exit had more than a dozen rooms. In a panic, Li Zhu tried to open each room, but none of them could be opened. Large beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, and his hands trembled uncontrollably as he gripped the handle. The wailing grew closer, and finally, Li Zhu opened a door and hid inside. Jiang Yi looked at the players searching for safe rooms, a mocking smile playing on his lips. It seems the rules of the game weren't listened to carefully, which is why they believed the rumors. The rumor that there are 10 safe rooms in the castle is false. It was deliberately spread by Jiang Yi to make management easier and reduce the number of players entering the castle, thus saving time. However, the players believed these false rumors and fought each other outside the castle to seize the safe room, resulting in more than half of the players entering the castle being eliminated. Friendly reminder: the castle owner does not kill innocent people. Jiang Yi watched as a sin value floated above the heads of individual players. Once the sin value exceeded 10%, he would swiftly end the player's life, causing them to disappear completely from this terrifying world and never reappear in any other world. Jiang Yi will not take action against players whose sin value is less than 10%, even if they are hiding in the most conspicuous place. Jiang Yi will just pretend not to see them. For example, a player hiding behind the curtains in the lobby, with a sin value of 6% displayed above their head, is trembling and tightly gripping the curtains, their human-shaped imprint clearly visible. Jiang Yi ignored them completely and quickly went to deal with the players who had committed serious crimes. Some of the more criminal players, seeing that Jiang Yi was ignoring the players behind the curtains, assumed it was a game bug and, having not found a safe room, also hid behind the curtains. Jiang Yi's eyes were cold, his lips slightly pursed. After dealing with the players outside the curtains, his twin swords scraped against the floor tiles with a harsh, grating sound. A long knife slowly sliced across the curtain, bypassing the low-criteria player who was trembling like he had Parkinson's disease, and directly pierced through the curtain to finish off the player who was pretending to be calm with a crime value as high as 78%. The player, severed in two, looked down incredulously at the fatal wound in his waist, then slowly looked up at the player hiding behind the curtains like himself. In the terrified eyes of the player who had escaped death, he vanished into countless fragments. In the back garden, after leaving the greenhouse, Jiang Chao went to find Jiang Yi. He had to quickly restore his memories, otherwise he would have to sleep in the guest room once his wife found out. In a room that could be opened and was mistaken by players as a safe room, Jiang Yi held his twin swords in front of Li Zhu, expressionless as he approached the last player with a long list of sins. Li Zhu held a pistol in his hand, pointing the muzzle at Jiang Yi. His voice was unsteady. You stay away, or I'll shoot." With a gun in his hand, Li Zhu was seen as a powerful ally in the instance by players who had lost their items. However, once they arrived at the castle, Li Zhu only cared about himself and pushed his teammates out to take the hits. At this moment, Jiang Yi raised his twin swords lightly, and the flash of the blades sliced the spear that Li Zhu was holding shakily into several pieces. Li Zhu stared in horror at the remaining gun handle in his hand, the sound of Jiang Yi's slowly approaching footsteps ringing in his ears. His mind was blank, begging for mercy was useless. The safe room was fake. Was he destined to die here today? Knock, knock, knock. As the door was knocked on, Jiang Yi stopped and turned to look at the person knocking. Butler Chow stood at the door and said in a strong voice, "Young master, the sovereign is waiting for you in the study." Jiang Yi frowned slightly, suppressing the rising anger in his heart, and said impatiently, "I know, I'll be there right away." That old bastard. He hasn't even settled accounts with him yet, and he's already delivered himself to his doorstep. During this brief moment of respite, Li Zhu came up with a way that might save her life. "Qin Shishi, I know Qin Shishi. We're friends, so you can't kill me." Li Zhu collapsed to the ground, and in a moment of inspiration, he remembered the question Jiang Yi had asked Li Dawei before killing the player. He realized that Qin Shishi must be very important to Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi glanced at the 100% sin value above Li Zhu's head. How could his wife be friends with such a villain? He's lying, he deserves to die. If his wife really became friends with such a wicked person, then she must have been deceived by him and should be killed. Seeing that Jiang Yi's murderous intent intensified after Li Zhu mentioned Qin Shishi, he realized he might have chosen the wrong side. Qin Shishi might be this ruthless killer's enemy, so he quickly changed his tune, saying, "No, I'm not her friend. I have a grudge against her. Can I be your underling and help you find her? Please don't kill me." Jiang Yi stared at Li Zhu with icy eyes. With a swift movement of his blade, Li Zhu was cleaved into countless fragments and vanished. Jian-gi watched with glee as Li Zhu dissipated into data fragments. Since he was his wife's enemy, he couldn't be allowed to live. Kill. After dealing with Li Zhu, Jian-gi went to the study. Upon entering, he saw the sovereign pacing anxiously. Jian-gi asked in a cold voice, "Where did you take my wife Qin Shi?" When the overlord saw Jian-gi enter, he ignored his question and directly summoned a ball of white light out of thin air, and with lightning speed pressed the ball of white light into Jian-gi's head. Smack. Chapter 150 had to come at this exact moment. How annoying. Remember now, don't tell your mother any nonsense. If you make her worry or upset, I'll never forgive you. Jiang Chao slapped Jian-gi's arm, his calm voice carrying a hint of threat. Jian-gi regained his memories of his parents as the young master of the horror world. When he opened his eyes, he saw his young-looking father standing very close to him. Jian-gi couldn't help but twitch his lips. Jiang Chao is his father, a stubborn and inherently wicked man. Only after being subdued by his mother, Wen Wan, has the terrifying world that Jiang Chao once ruled been transformed into the peaceful and stable place it is today. However, after Jian-gi came of age, his father, Jiang Chao, wanted to take over the management of this terrifying world so that he could accompany his mother, Wen Wan, on a trip. When Jian-gi refused, Jiang Chao used special methods to force him to start working. Jian-gi, whose memory was intact, wanted nothing more than to stab his wicked father a few times on the spot, but when he thought of his wife Qin Shi, who was still being hidden away by his father Jiang Chao, Jian-gi could only patiently push Jiang Chao away as he was about to get close to his face to examine her. Jian-gi said irritably, "I remember now. I know what I should and shouldn't say, so I won't worry my mother. Also, tell me quickly, where did you take your daughter-in-law?" Hearing Jian-gi's assurance, Jiang Chao felt relieved and adopted a stern fatherly demeanor. "Your wife and mother are having a good chat in the back garden. You should finish your work first. Another wave of players is coming." Upon hearing this, Jian-gi glanced at Jiang Chao, his displeased expression seeming to say, "Do I look like a shrew to you? I've regained my memories, and the work I'm doing wasn't even mine to begin with, so why should I let you do it?" Jian-gi turned around mercilessly, throwing his twin swords directly at Jiang Chao's feet, and said coldly, "I'm not the ruler, Dad. Now that you're back, get back to work." Seeing that Jian-gi, his rebellious son who always went against him, was about to step out of the study, Jiang Chao confidently said, "I am the master, and I decide whether players who successfully pass through the instance can return to the world they want to go back to. My daughter-in-law seems to be a player too." Jiang Chao didn't finish his sentence, but Jian-gi had already stopped in his tracks. Jian-gi frowned, his lips pressed into a cold, stern line, and his eyes burned with anger as he stared directly at his father, Jiang Chao. After a long while, he finally spoke, "What do you want?" "Jian-gi, you've grown up and found a girl you like. Your mother and I will definitely bless you. Let's make a deal." Jian-gi's weakness is Qin Shi. His father, Jiang Chao, that wicked son, actually tried to make a deal with Jian-gi by asking whether Qin Shi could return to the real world. In the greenhouse in the back garden, Jian-gi's mother, Wen Wan, was talking about her son Xiuxi's embarrassing moments. Qin Shi was delighted to hear this. She said, "Who did Jian-gi learn his jealous personality from?" It turns out he learned it from his father. Seeing that Qin Shi and the others were enjoying the conversation, Wen Wan was happy to chat with them about more interesting things. "When we took Xiu Jian-gi to Fantasyland, the little guy loved riding the carousel so much that when we took him home, he remembered the route and secretly ran away for a long time. I was so worried. Luckily, the park owner called us later, and his dad picked him up and gave him a beating." Wen Wan laughed and continued to expose his son's past. "After beating him, we still couldn't stop him from sneaking out to play. Later, we found out he was perfectly safe, so we let him go. When he grew up a bit, he wasn't satisfied with playing in the world under his father's control, so he actually went to play in other worlds and caused a lot of trouble. After we found out, his father gave him another good beating. Qin Shishi was surprised. Jiang Yi usually seemed so calm and composed, but she never expected him to be so mischievous at times. Bai Apio's sly smile was almost impossible to hide from his teacup. He never expected that Jiang Yi, who cooked so well with Sister Shishi, would be like this. Yun Ru wanted to laugh, but considering that she was currently a guest in the castle owner's instance, she worried that laughing out loud might anger the castle owner and prevent her from returning home if she failed her mission. With this in mind, she forced down the corners of her mouth that were not very noticeable. Madam, don't chat for too long. You just got back from your trip, you should rest. These 3 children are tired from coming to instance, let them rest too. Jiang Chao gently placed his hand on Wen Wan's shoulder and slowly advised. After Jiang Chao and Jiang Yi finalized their deal, Jiang Chao hurried back to be with his wife. Wen Wan took her husband Jiang Chao's hand and said, "But I haven't seen my son yet. Shishi also wants to see Jiang Yi." Jiang Chao patiently advised, "Madam, the workload this time is quite heavy. He'll probably be busy for another 2 days. Let's not rush things. You can take Shishi to see him after he finishes his work." Seeing her husband say this, Wen Wan could only sigh helplessly and postpone seeing her son Jiang Yi. She turned her head and called a servant to arrange 2 guest rooms, and had someone take Yun Ru and Bai Apio to the guest rooms to rest. She then led Qin Shishi to a room specially prepared for her. Wen Wan had always longed for a daughter, but Jiang Chao firmly disagreed with making her endure the pain of childbirth again. Therefore, she could only place her hopes on the future, hoping that Jiang Yi would find her a suitable daughter-in-law when he grew up. At that time, she will definitely treat this daughter-in-law as her own daughter and love her dearly. Qin Shishi followed Wen Wan to the room that had been prepared especially for her. As soon as she entered, she was captivated by the scene before her. The entire room was filled with girlish pink hues. The walls, bed, and curtains were all pink, as if you were in a dream world. "Do you like it, Shishi?" Wen Wan asked Qin Shishi gently, while nervously squeezing her husband Jiang Chao's hand. "I love it, Auntie, it's decorated so beautifully, thank you." Qin Shishi hugged Wen Wan with tears in her eyes. Qin Shishi rarely felt at home. Apart from the 3 years she spent with Jiang Yi in the real world, Tao Xiaoxiao and Wen Wan were the ones who gave her such a heartwarming feeling. "Good child, we'll be family soon. Rest here for now, and Auntie will come to see you again tomorrow." After Wen Wan thoughtfully said goodbye to Qin Shishi, she and Jiang Chao returned to their room. In the castle hall, Jiang Yi had just finished dealing with yet another group of uninvited guests when Butler Chao came to remind him, "Young master, the phone in the master's study is ringing." Jiang Yi didn't even turn his head, replying directly, "Let the old man go pick him up himself." Butler Chao remained calm and replied, "The master said that this is also within the scope of the young master's work and should be handled by him." Jiang Yi gritted his teeth in resentment and turned to go to the study to answer the phone. "That old geezer, he's got so much trouble to do. And that landline phone that never rings in ages had to call at this time of year, it's so annoying." Chapter 151. I knew my parents wouldn't bother explaining. "Who is that Jiang Yi's younger brother?" Upon hearing the voice, Jiang Yi paused, unsure of who was on the other end. Seeing that Jiang Yi on the other end of the phone didn't speak, Bai is he, who was making the call, laughed and said, "It's me, Bai is he, cousin. You haven't forgotten me, have you?" Jiang Yi took a deep breath and replied, "No, cousin, is there something you need?" Bai is he said happily, "Cousin, I heard from uncle that my brother Bai Apio is about to reach the final instance, right? I just finished my work here, so I called to ask about Apio's situation. I'll come and pick him up tomorrow to go back to my world." Jiang Yi didn't see Bai Apio, but judging from what Bai is he said, it seems that Bai Apio entered the instance with his wife. Their current whereabouts can only be known by Jiang Yi's father, Jiang Chao, after he finishes his work. "Yes, cousin, APO has arrived and is having a great time here. You can come pick him up tomorrow. Okay, I'll go tomorrow. See you tomorrow, cousin. After finishing his call with his cousin Bai Izhi, Jiang Yi began dealing with another round of uninvited guests. No players entered the castle at night, and Jiang Yi got bored waiting for them in the hall, so he asked Butler Chow to keep watch for him. When a player arrives, Butler Chow will come to the room to notify him, and he will go back to his room first. The room lights came on, illuminating the dark room. Jiang Yi looked at her room, which had been cold and austere, in confusion as it had been transformed into a warm and sweet space. Even breathing could be heard from under the pink blankets. Jiang Yi was overjoyed and tiptoed over. He gently lifted a corner of the blankets, revealing a familiar face. Jiang Yi smiled slightly, his eyes sparkling with joy. He dared not disturb Qin Shi Shi's sweet dream. Remembering that he had instructed Butler Chow to come find him when he arrived, he tiptoed out of the room. He had to remind Butler Chow again not to notify him about the players who broke in at night, and to deal with them all in the morning. Jiang Yi couldn't contain his excitement at the thought of his wife sleeping in his room. He quickened his pace unconsciously, planning to return as soon as he finished giving instructions so he could sleep with her. Jiang Yi, at least the old man still has some conscience. The next day, Qin Shi Shi laughed out loud the moment she woke up in Jiang Yi's arms. Jiang Yi looked bewildered, raised his hand and pinched Qin Shi Shi's soft cheek, saying affectionately, "Baby, why are you grinning at me like that so early in the morning?" Qin Shi Shi smiled broadly, her eyes twinkling, unable to suppress her laughter. Guai, your mom told me a lot about your childhood yesterday, so seeing you now reminds me of." Upon hearing this, Jiang Yi raised an eyebrow, stopped pinching Qin Shi Shi's soft cheeks, and instead pulled her close around the waist, kissing her pretty little mouth to stop Qin Shi Shi from saying what she was about to say. Qin Shi Shi was so overwhelmed by the kisses that she lost all sense of direction. Jiang Yi's large hands ignited fire all over her body, and the temperature in the cozy room rose. Knock, knock, knock. Young master, 7 waves of players have already arrived. You need to deal with them, otherwise there won't be enough people in the lobby. Butler Chow's sudden voice interrupted Jiang Yi's hand as he prepared to cover himself with the blanket. Seeing that Jiang Yi didn't move, Qin Shi Shi reached out and pushed Jiang Yi's chest, which was leaning over her, and urged him, "Go on, Guai, I'll wait for you to come back here." Looking at his wife's beautiful eyes, slightly red and misty from the deep kiss, Jiang Yi felt an irresistible itch in his heart, and the deal he made with his father Jiang Chow yesterday involuntarily surfaced in his mind. Finally, he sighed helplessly, lowered his head and kissed Qin Shi Shi's fragrant lips one last time before leaving. Hall. Jiang Yi, a ghost who doesn't need to sleep, has developed what's called morning grumpiness because of Butler Chow's urging. Just as Jiang Yi, whose aura was extremely low, had dealt with nearly half of the 7 waves of players, Bai Izhi arrived. Bai Izhi was brought into the hall by Butler Chow. Jiang Yi looked at his cousin Bai Izhi, whom Butler Chow had brought, and recognized her somewhat. Bai Izhi's mother, Jiang Yan, is the younger sister of Jiang Yi's father, Jiang Chow. The two of them manage 2 different worlds. Jiang Chow manages the world of horror, and Jiang Yan manages the world of cultivation. These are the 2 positions of rulership passed down to them by their parents after they traveled to the heavens. As for why Bai Izhi and Bai Apiao have the surname Bai, it's because Jiang Yi's aunt, Jiang Yan, found a human son-in-law who moved in with her, and that man's surname was Bai. Thinking of his aunt's husband, his uncle Bai Heji, Jiang Yi couldn't help but frown. In Jiang Yi, every time Xiaoshi who sneaked off to the world managed by his aunt Jiang Yan, it was always his petty uncle who would betray him, causing him to be caught and brought back by his father Jiang Chow early on, never getting to enjoy himself to the fullest. "Cousin, are you busy?" Bai Izhi calmly looked at the players running around and screaming in the living room and asked Jiang Yi, who was holding dual swords and had a cold expression. "Bai Izhi, dressed in a lotus pink dress, stood gracefully, her hair cascading down to a dark, cloud-like style, adorned with a gold hairpin and jade ornaments, radiating a beauty like that of a fairy from ancient times. Because the cultivation world managed by Aunt Jiang Yan has a very different style from the horror world, Jiang Xiu Shihao always loved to go to his aunt's cultivation world to experience a different life, but each time he went, it was never quite satisfactory. Butler Chow, take my cousin is he to find my cousin Apiao, whom my dad has settled in the castle. As soon as Jiang Yi finished speaking, he transformed back into a ruthless work robot, continuing to deal with the wicked players in the lobby. Okay, cousin, you go ahead and work. I'll go pick up my brother and then come see you after I've seen your aunt and uncle. Bai as he waved to Jiang Yi and then followed Butler Chow to pick up his younger brother, Bai Apiao. When Bai Apiao saw his sister, he could hardly believe that what the old Taoist priest with the afro had said was actually true. It turns out that after Bai Apiao's parents conceived his older sister Bai as he in the world of cultivation, they, like Jiang Yi's parents, handed over the world they ruled to the adult Bai as he and went to travel to other worlds. Later, during their travels in the real world, they accidentally conceived Bai Apiao. They then took him with them and lived in the real world until Bai Apiao was about to come of age. Only then did they decide to send him to the cultivation world managed by his sister, Bai as he. Perhaps because they hadn't used their teleportation ability for too long, Bai Apiao's parents accidentally sent him to the wrong world. Fortunately, the horror world they were sent to was managed by Bai Apiao's uncle, Jiang Chao, so they weren't worried. They asked Bai Apiao's uncle, Jiang Chao, to watch over it for a while, and his sister, Bai as he, would come to pick him up when she had time. So, little brother, do you understand your identity now? I knew father and mother were too lazy to explain, so they were just waiting for me to explain to you. Bai as he sat in the armchair, propping his chin up, lazily looking at Bai Apiao, who had an incredulous expression. After processing what her older sister Bai as he had said, Bai Apiao turned her head and asked, Sis, when are mom and dad coming back? I still want to hear it from them in person. Chapter 152 Okay, let's have the baby now, the finale. Bai as he shrugged and waved his hand, saying, My parents said they'll stay for another month before coming back, but knowing them as I do, it might take 2 or 3 months. Then it would be 2 or 3 months before he could see his parents again. Bai Apiao thought of what old Taoist priest with the afro had said, so his parents would have to wait 3 months to come back and reunite with him and his sister. Bai Apiao looked at her languid older sister, Bai as he, and asked the question that had been bothering her, Sister, are you married? Upon hearing this, Bai as he said with a headache, Didn't your parents say that you weren't even born when I got married? Besides, they didn't really like your brother-in-law back then, thinking he was a gigolo. Bai Apiao, the old Taoist priest was right all along. Seeing her younger brother Bai Apiao's shocked expression, Bai as he laughed out loud. This was the first time she had seen her own brother, and just as her parents had said, he looked 7 or 8 parts like her. After laughing, Bai as he said seriously, Little brother, now that we've recognized each other, let's go see your uncle and aunt. After that, you can come back to my world with me to see your brother-in-law. Hall. Jiang Yi was wreaking havoc, but today was the busiest day since the castle changed locations every 7 days. After the battles outside the castle, many players gradually found the castle's location by following the stream. They can't kill them all, they really can't kill them all. Jiang Yi, who once longed to go back and spend time with his wife, is now numb from killing. Just when we finished eliminating a round of players whose sin value had exceeded the limit, another round of players barged in. It's never going to end. Jiang Yi's bedroom. Qin Shishi hadn't seen Jiang Yi return by lunchtime, and wondered how difficult his job was. There was a knock on the door, and Qin Shishi opened it. A maid bowed and asked, Miss Shishi, Madam invites you to lunch. Please come this way. Qin Shishi responded and followed the maid through the corridor. After turning left and passing through several large courtyards, they arrived at a dining hall that was different from yesterday's. This time, the dining hall was understated yet luxurious. Wen Wan and Jiang Chao sat at the head of the table, along with Bai Piao and a beautiful woman dressed in ancient costume. Shishi, come, sit here. Wen Wan pointed to the seat next to her and smiled as she invited Qin Shishi to sit down. Qin Shishi nodded and quickly walked towards the seat next to Wen Wan. After Qin Shishi sat down, Wen Wan explained, Shishi, this is Bai Piao. You should know him. He is actually Jiang Yi's cousin. The person sitting next to him is his sister, Bai is he. After saying that, Wen Wan introduced Bai is he and her brother to them, as he, Piao, this is Jiang Yi's girlfriend. Qin Shishi and Bai is he, who were meeting for the first time, nodded to each other in greeting. After dealing with the players who had accumulated from last night and this morning, Jiang Yi finally had a moment of free time. He rushed over as soon as he learned that Qin Shishi was coming for a family dinner. Upon entering, Jiang Yi consciously sat down next to Qin Shishi. In the entire dining hall, the only two people who actually needed to eat were Wen Wan and Qin Shishi, everyone else was just accompanying them. Bai as he found it unbelievable that her mischievous cousin, Jiang Yi, who had always caused trouble at her mother's instance since childhood, was sitting comfortably next to Qin Shishi, accompanying her for a meal. Cousin, when are you and Shishi getting married? Bai as he asked her cousin Jiang Yi, who was eating quietly. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yi calmly replied, Cousin, your instance must be quite busy. After you finish eating, hurry up and take Piao back, otherwise your husband might not be able to handle it alone. Bai as he pursed her lips, thinking to herself, Cousin Jiang Yi is still as unlikable as ever. Okay, I'll go back right away after I finish eating, but you absolutely have to invite me to your cousin and Shishi's wedding. Don't forget the kindness of your older cousin who took you around the world of cultivation when you were little. Seeing her older sister Bai as he teasingly finished speaking, Bai Piao quickly added happily, and me too, Sister Shishi. When you and your cousin get married, don't forget to invite me to your wedding. I haven't had any wedding candy yet. Qin Shishi blushed with embarrassment when the Bai siblings asked her about marriage, but Wei Wei simply nodded in response, yes, we will. Jiang Yi was also worried that Qin Shishi might not be used to this terrifying world if she got married too early, since marrying him would mean spending a long time in this terrifying world. Seeing his daughter-in-law nod shyly in response, Jiang Yi felt much less uneasy and continued to serve her food. Wen Wan was in a good mood as she watched the children chatting happily. She glanced at Jiang Chao, who was having dinner with her, and felt a warmth in her heart. Jiang Chao also served Wen Wan her favorite dishes, then turned his gaze from the children below to Wen Wan, who had been filling his heart. While the group was enjoying their meal together, Butler Chow came in to give a report. My lord, my lady, an old Taoist priest has come outside. He says he is looking for Miss Shishi and young Master Piao. Qin Shishi, old Taoist priest with his afro, is truly a genius. Bai Piao, looks like I still have to pay that fortune-telling fee of over 100,000 yuan. On the fourth day after Qin Shishi arrived at the castle, Bai Piao had already returned to the cultivation world with his sister Bai as he on the second day, and Yunru had also fulfilled the system's mission on the third day and was sent back to the home she had always wanted to return to by the overlord. Jiang Yi finished dealing with the players whose sin values exceeded the limit early today and then came back to spend time with Qin Shishi. At the same time, Jiang Yi also planned to ask about something he had been hesitant about. Seeing Jiang Yi's furrowed brows and preoccupied expression, Qin Shishi took the initiative to ask, Guai, what's wrong? Are you tired from too much work? Jiang Yi shook his head, raised his hand and gently pressed down on Qin Shishi, who was walking with him in the back garden. Wei Wei leaned closer to her, his voice a little nervous. Baby, if we get married, we'll be spending most of our time in this terrifying instance. Are you willing? Qin Shishi wrapped her arms around Jiang Gi's lean waist, pressed her face against his chest, and said softly, "Gwai Gwai, will marriage restrict my freedom?" Jiang Gi lowered his eyes, concealing the unreadable emotions within them, and pondered, "No, it's just that I might have to work in this world until we have children, and only when the children grow up and take over the work I've been in charge of can I accompany you to other worlds." "Oh, I see. Then we can have the baby sooner rather than later," Qin Shishi said with a smile. Jiang Gi gazed intently at Qin Shishi in his arms, the melancholy in his eyes instantly dispelled by surprise, his gaze sparkling, and the corners of his mouth curving upwards. "Okay, let's have the baby now." Qin Shishi nestled in Jiang Gi's arms, letting Jiang Gi carry her in a princess carry as they strode into the room. End of article.